I can't believe this is actually real. Prager U is actually making a video called Big Green. What is Big Green? I can't believe this is actually fucking real. Are you ready?
That's Praxis.
Holy shit, dude. George, thanks for the tier 1. All right, let's go. Big Green.
You've heard a lot about big oil, big pharma, big tech, and all the other big bad
Emily.
players out there.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about the biggest,
with money.
baddest one of them all. This Goliath doesn't deal in billions, it deals in trillions. I'm talking about Big Green.
Hype train.
Yes, the environmental movement. It's the richest, most powerful big in the world right now.
This is what conservatives actually believe. This is what conservatives actually believe. Now, if you want, I could debunk this. And in fact, I will. But I want you to know
That's Praxis.
the largest companies in the world, I want you to guess. I want you to guess what the largest companies in the world are.
That's Praxis.
I want you to guess.
That's Praxis.
What the largest companies in the world are by revenue. Walmart, Exxon, Apple, Exxon Mobil.
That's Praxis.
All right. How many of these do you think are solar panel manufacturers? We got Walmart. Ding, 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 ding. Correctamundo for the Walmart. Sinopec Group. State Grid. China National Petroleum. Royal Dutch Shell. Saudi Aramco, I can never pronounce this. Volkswagen, BP, Amazon, Toyota. Agricultural Bank of China. Look at these. ICBC. Now, this is market cap, which is just how much they trade for the stock market, which is not related on their revenues and profits.
That's Praxis.
So, I want you to understand here, the biggest and most powerful corporations in the world are Chinese state-owned corporations and basically oil companies. And then like car manufacturers. The richest, most powerful big in the world is Big Green. Thick Smoke Gang, thanks for the tier 1. Thank you everybody for keeping that a hype train going.
Nothing else even comes close. Until we see it for what it is and rein it in, it's going to get even bigger. And as is usually the case, bigger is not always better. You see, Big Green wants to take over your life. It has to. This makes perfect sense. Big Green, after all, intends to save the planet from oblivion. Your freedom would seem to be a small price to pay. To accomplish its mission, Big Green needs two things: money and power.
Now, chat, before we go into more of the propaganda, I can't believe they're actually gonna do this. I can't believe Prager U is actually gonna make this argument. I can't believe this is actually fucking real life. But you know what? They're going to. Now, before we continue, I want you to guess. Who's behind Prager U? How does Prager U exist? How does Prager U exist? I would like to ask you, how does Prager U exist? Oil. Pepe La Oil, Pepe La K, George Soros. No, fuck no, not George. I want you to look. Fracking titans spend millions proselytizing school children. Conservative radio host Dennis Prager's Eponymous, I can't ever say this word, fuck you, chat, website seeks to insert religious and political right-wing propaganda directly into schools. Now, who do you think funds this? Let's go ahead and press search fracking. Go ahead and search again. Prager U's largest donors, Dan and Ferris Wilkes, have spent the last few years using the fortune they made from the fracking boom to fund extreme right-wing causes. The brothers sold off their frack tech shares a few years ago, but they still manage Interstate Explorations, an oil and gas field services company based out of Texas. The two are reportedly worth an estimated $1.4 billion apiece.
That's Praxis.
They are literally funded by the oil and gas lobby. They are literally funded by the oil and gas lobby. By the way, chat, to keep this hype train going, we're going to need another 3 subs. Get it in there quick. Come on. Spend the money.
That's Praxis.
Let's keep going.
It already has a lot of both, but it's hungry for much more. Who do we mean when we say Big Green? We mean the major organizations that set the agenda for the movement. This would include, among dozens, Greenpeace, 350.org, Nature Conservancy, Sierra Club, World Wildlife Fund, and of course, the politicians, bureaucrats, corporations, and media outlets who support and promote their agenda. Before we get any deeper into this, let's stipulate a few things. The climate is changing. It appears, though we can't be sure, to be slowly warming. If it continues to warm, it could cause serious environmental problems sometime.
Oh my God, they're making the transition! It's happening! It's happening. They're making the transition. They're transitioning from it's fake news, it's a Chinese hoax, to I'm not a scientist, I don't know. That was the most recent one. Now they're transitioning to, well, it looks like the Earth is getting warmer. And if it continues, it may cause environmental problems. Oh my.
DSA Rose.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Let me turn down the alerts for this segment, chat. Oh my God.
That's Praxis.
Eco-fascism, here we come.
Time in the distant future. Industrialization probably plays a role in this warming process. Reasonable people should be able to agree on this. Democrat leader Nancy Pelosi and Republican leader Newt Gingrich actually once sat down together and said as much in a public.
I can't trust this guy. His beard is too clean cut.
Wait a minute. They're bringing up this ad as proof of what? I'm sorry for yelling, but what? I'm losing my mind here.
Public service ad they made in the 1990s. But Big Green has no interest in being.
What? Are they trying to pretend the Republican Party supports climate change? Okay, first of all, let's watch that ad. Let's watch this ad.
Hi.
Let's watch this ad. Hold on.
Hi, I'm Nancy Pelosi, lifelong Democrat and Speaker of the House.
And I'm Newt Gingrich, lifelong Republican, and I used to be Speaker.
We don't always see eye to eye, do we, Newt?
No, but we do agree our country must take action to address climate change.
We need cleaner forms of energy, and we need them fast.
If enough of us demand action from our leaders, we can spark the innovation we need.
Go to wecansolveit.org. Together, we can do this.
So I went to GOP.com/platform and I searched for climate change. Government should not play favorites among energy producers. The taxpayers will not soon forget the current administration's subsidies to companies that went bankrupt without producing a kilowatt of energy. This must be from the They didn't do a new platform in 2020. They actually had, this was their platform in 2020. I'm being real. This is reality. Their platform in 2020 is whatever Donald Trump wants it to be, the end. That was their platform in 2020. They didn't even put a platform out. So their last platform is from 2016. So I term search climate change, and it says, climate change is far from this nation's most pressing national security issue. This is a triumph of extremism over common sense, and Congress must stop it. We encourage cost-effective development of renewable energy sources, wind, solar, biomass, biofuel, geothermal, and tidal by private capital. We oppose any carbon tax. America's energy producers should be free to export their product to foreign markets. Let's search climate change. The next one. The United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is a political mechanism, not an unbiased scientific institution. Its unreliability is reflected in its intolerance towards scientists and others who dissent from its orthodoxy. We reject the agendas of the Kyoto Protocol and Paris Agreement. We demand an immediate halt to U.S. funding for the UN's Framework Convention on Climate Change in accordance with the 1994 Foreign Relations Authorization Act. This law prohibits Washington from giving any money to any affiliated organization of the United States which grants Palestinians membership as a state. So in other words, their only mention of climate change is a conspiracy about the IPCC to say that they oppose entry in the climate change treaty because it treats Palestinians as human, and to say climate change is not one of the country's most pressing national security issues. And then we go back to this, and the Greens are the ones with no interest in it being reasonable? What? All right, let's continue.
Being reasonable. Reasonable doesn't get you money. Reasonable
no
doesn't
shit,
get you
Prager U. That's why you've got a lot of money from those fucking fracking billionaires, huh?
power. So let's talk about the money. Greenpeace, Nature Conservancy, World Wildlife Fund, and Sierra Club all have financial assets.
They're really gonna talk about financial funding sources? This is actually real. Prager U is questioning other people's financial funding sources? This is real life. We are literally, is this? Can we get some DSA Keck W's in the chat for this?
That's in the $100 to $300 million range. Name a Fortune 500 company, and chances are they're writing big checks to Big Green. Banking giant Citigroup, for example, has committed $100 billion to combat climate change. But the real money is at the government level. In 2009...
Okay, they didn't even bring up one example. And then they said Citigroup was going to spend $100 billion. What's that mean? Citigroup's going to give loans to people that do green energy shit? So a bank is going to make loans and profit from the loans. Wow. Wow. Big Green is just dominating banks so much that they're forcing banks to make money by making loans.
The Obama administration directed more than $110 billion to be spent on renewable energy investments under the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act alone. What the taxpayer got for this investment, other than long-forgotten $500 million boondoggles like Solyndra.
Wait, a company went bankrupt. That means that all companies are bad. Except there are other companies that are doing very well in the solar space, both in China and the United States of America. You fucking dipshits. One company with a specific technology didn't manage to make enough market penetration, so they failed. That's called capitalism, dummy dumb. You know who else goes bankrupt? Who gets a ton of fucking subsidy? This is from October 13, 2020. Fracking firms fail, rewarding executives and raising climate fears. Oil and gas companies are hurling toward bankruptcy, raising fears that wells will be left leaking planet-warming pollutants with cleanup costs left to taxpayers. The day the debt-ridden Texas oil producer MDC Energy filed for bankruptcy 8 months ago, a tank at one of its wells was furiously leaking methane, a potent greenhouse gas, into the atmosphere. As of last week, dangerous invisible gases were still spewing into the air. By one estimate, the company would need more than $40 million to clean up its wells if they were permanently closed. But the debts of the parent company now exceed the value of its assets by more than $180 million. In the months before its bankruptcy filing, though, the company managed to pay its chief executive $8.5 million in consulting fees. Its top lender, the French investment bank Natick Axis, later alleged in bankruptcy court. So let me guess. Obviously, the oil and gas companies are not asking for taxpayer bailouts, right? Like, obviously they wouldn't be doing that. Oh! 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 White House likely to pursue federal aid for shale companies hit by oil shock. Billions of federal COVID-19 relief money flow to the oil industry. You know, that's weird. Huh. Let's talk about Solyndra from 10 years ago, but not the fact that the oil and gas industry are begging the federal government for billions in subsidies as they go bankrupt right now. That's weird. Big oil, I guess, is pretty powerful.
According to the best economic models, the Paris Climate Accord will cost the world $1 to $2 trillion every year. Total cost for the Green New Deal, $52 trillion.
Okay, they're just literally making shit up. They're just literally making shit up. They're making it up. The Green New Deal was like 13 trillion over 10 years. And here's hidden costs of climate change running hundreds of billions a year. A new report warns of a high price tag on the impacts of global warming from storm damage to health costs, but solutions can provide better value, the authors say. Extreme weather made worse by climate change, along with the health impacts of burning fossil fuels, have cost the U.S. economy $240 billion a year over the past 10 years. And yet this does not include the past month's 3 major hurricanes or 76 wildfires in 9 western states. Those economic losses alone are estimated to top $300 billion. Putting it into perspective, $300 billion is enough money to provide free tuition for the 113.5 million U.S. students enrolled in public colleges and universities for 4 years. So 1 year of wildfires... 1 year of wildfires and hurricanes is enough, caused by climate change, is enough to spend free college for every American student for 4 years. Burning fossil fuels comes at a giant price tag that the U.S. economy can't afford and not sustain. So they're just making up numbers. And that is the way that these Prager U folks operate. They just make shit up, they bullshit, and they lie.
Minimum. But money is only a means to an end. The end is power. The power to transform society into what they think it should be. That's what this is really about. Here's how Shoykat Chakrabarty, the architect of the Green New Deal, described it to the Washington Post. It wasn't originally a climate thing at all. We really think of it as a how do you change the entire economy thing. Maybe you like all this, that's fine. But don't pretend it's about protecting the environment. Chakrabarty was being honest. You should be too. It's about transferring more and more power to the government at every level, federal, state, local. And the way to get the power is to gin up scary scenarios. The planet...
Oh, like all Mexicans are rapists? Oh, like the caravan? Like radical Islamic terrorists, like Antifa, all of which are literally haven't been a threat to this country ever. By focusing on some weird extreme case of some immigrant committing some horrible crime, even though immigrants commit crimes at a lower rate than native-born Americans. Like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? The Republican Party is 100% up about making shit up. Also, the economy, I don't know if you know this, is highly unequal, and it's getting worse. The middle class, the working class of America are being hollowed out, and all the wealth is going to bankers and oil executives, Wall Street, and the rich. Yeah, we want to make society better, you know? Where working class people, the people that actually build things, the people that actually work, the people that cook and clean, the people that provide us our services, the workers that get up every day and put up their boots on day in, day out. They're the ones who get more of the economic rewards, as opposed to rich fracking billionaires sitting on their ass destroying the planet. If you think society is good right now, vote for the Republicans, I guess. If you want no fucking change, if you think everything is great, the Republicans and Prager U are for you. If you think we need change, if you think that the rich have too much power, if you think working class people and the people that produce deserve to have more control of their daily lives, then you vote for the left. It's really that simple. If you love the rich, if you're a bootlicker, fucking vote Republican. If you're actually somebody who wants to see the world get better, you vote with the Democratic Socialists, you vote with the Social Democrats, you vote for Bernie Sanders, you vote for a Green New Deal. I don't know if you know this, but Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the government programs that we all support are overwhelmingly popular in this country. Why? Because they provide material benefits to everyone. You know what's unpopular? The foreign wars, the rich, the pollution, the fact that we don't have enough money for our infrastructure, the fact that we don't have enough money for our schools. Where's that money going? It's not because we're poor. We're the richest country ever. Where's that money going? The top.
It is burning. The seas are rising. We're all going to be dead soon unless we listen to those masters of disaster, Al Gore, Bill McKibben, and Greta Thunberg.
You literally just said that global warming was real, dude. You literally just said it was real. Now you're saying that they're dooming for telling you what's going to happen. If things continue and CO2 emissions continue to grow, using the basic physics you concede was real in the beginning of the video, the climate is going to get warmer. And the more CO2 and greenhouse gases we put out into the atmosphere, the warmer it will get. The warmer it gets, the worse the impacts. And there are serious concerns that we may hit tipping points that accelerate climate change beyond our own emissions. For example, the albedo of the planet. What's that mean? It means the natural reflectivity of the planet will go down when the ice caps melt, because white things reflect light. And when you trade the polar ice caps from white snow and ice to sea, dark blue sea, that sea absorbs more energy. Less energy reflected into the and back into the space, meaning more energy trapped in our atmosphere, meaning the climate gets warmer faster. That's just one of the many ways that climate change could be worse. Or if we melt the permafrost, and that does a huge methane release, right? Right now, a lot of methane is trapped at the bottom of the ocean, at the seabed, and in our permafrost, all in the Arctic and tundra regions of the Earth. If the Earth gets warm enough that that permafrost melts, we get massive releases of methane. Methane is a huge global greenhouse gas emitter. That would mean more energy is trapped. So all this stuff is basic physics. Once you understand the mechanism of how the greenhouse effect works, and then you change the composition of that atmosphere to increase the heat absorption, we can make a measurement and a projection of how warm it's going to be. And how warm it's going to be determines climate impacts. This is all basic, very fundamental physics, very fundamental, that we understand all of these processes. And all of these people that you're saying are claiming that it's going to be worse than it is are just looking at the projections and telling people, if we don't change what we're doing, this will be the outcome. Prager U is a fucking joke.
And what have all their horror stories led to? A generation of young people who have nightmares about a planet burning up around them.
Okay. Nightmares? Nightmares? This was this year. This is what San Francisco and LA looked like this year. Is this a nightmare or is this a picture of reality? This is the middle of the day in the summer. You tell me if this is a nightmare or if this is reality. August 14th, this is a normal day. This is... And it's gonna happen more and more and more the warmer it gets. You think that it can't get worse than it is? It's going to get warmer, which means more hypercanes, which means more wildfires, which means more arable land destroyed and unusable for farming. That means more climate change refugees. You think Syria was bad? We're projecting 1 billion by 2050. 1 billion climate refugees by 2050. Syria was 4 million. You think Syria was bad for Europe? What do you think 1 billion refugees looks like? Seriously. Nightmares? How about this? People telling you something bad's about to happen and giving you enough time to change it, dummy dumb.
Poor people who pay higher energy bills than they need to because of massive subsidies for wind and solar power. Millions of birds, including endangered ones, dying.
Is this a meme? Is this a meme? Are they making a meme right now? Do you know what the #1 threat to birds is? You know what the #1 threat to birds is on the planet, chat? Everyone throw some guesses what the #1 threat to birds. Vio says humans. And you're partially right. Predation by domestic cats is the #1 direct human-caused threat to birds in the United States and Canada. In the United States alone, outdoor cats kill approximately 2.4 billion birds every year. Although this number may seem unbelievable, it represents the combined impact of tens of millions of outdoor cats. You're telling me you care about bird deaths from fucking wind turbines? Get the hell out of here. Also, by the way, this can be changed by altering the way that the blades are painted, the different rates at which blades spin in certain areas, avoiding certain areas known for high quantities of birds. There's ways of solving this problem. And yes, some birds get hit by blades, but a lot of birds get hit by, I don't know, cars and trucks. This is a ridiculous, absurd... I can't believe this is actually real.
Sliced to pieces by wind turbines. Yet in the midst of all the planet is burning fear-mongering, the world is cleaner, healthier, and richer than it has ever been.
That has nothing to do, first of all, not true, and second of all, it's not cleaner than it was before the Industrial Revolution, dummy dumb. You stupid fuck. Human beings have been around for 250,000 years at least. The Industrial Revolution is 200 years. The Earth is not cleaner than it was 200 years ago, dumbass.
Deaths from natural disasters are at all-time lows.
No, they're not.
Here's why. Human beings adapt when faced with climate problems. We're really good at it. We've been doing it for thousands.
Okay, what do you think part of the Green New Deal is, you dumbass? It's building seawalls. It's building levees. It's building dams. It's building infrastructure to withstand climate change. What the hell are you talking about, you dumbass? We adapt by spending money to build infrastructure that helps us survive climate change. You asshole. You dumbass. You are just arguing against it.
Thousands of years. Sea levels rising, build taller and better.
Do you think seawalls are fucking magic?
Better seawalls. That's what the Netherlands did. A good chunk of the country, including its international airport, is below sea level.
Okay, first of all, you stupid fuckhead. I'm sorry for using so many swears. I apologize for using swears. I'm going to stop using as many swears. But the Netherlands is a geographically unique area. Not all areas where you have sea level rise are you going to be able to build the same kind of infrastructure that the Netherlands has. Also, they spent a lot of money doing so. You know a place where we're going to probably not be able to save? Miami. Miami has limestone bedrock, and sea level rise will dissolve that limestone bedrock and create massive sinkholes over the entire city of Miami. If sea level rise continues, Miami may be lost permanently.
Need more water? Spread the gospel of drip irrigation and desalinization. Israel has more water than it needs, and it's in the middle of a desert. Need clean energy? Build more nuclear power plants. Sweden gets half of its energy from nuclear. None of these simple, practical solutions makes much of an impact on Big Green. You don't raise money off of common sense, and you don't get political power telling people how good things are, and you certainly don't become famous by being calm. Big Green is not poor, not honest.
So, by the way, you know that thing I just said? He mentioned the Netherlands. Here's an article. Can the Dutch save the world from the danger of rising sea levels? Miami's outlook is particularly gloomy. Much of its waterfront is protected by what looks like a waist-high garden wall. Building Dutch-style defenses is an improbable outcome in low-tax Florida and might not help anyway. The city is built on porous limestone, so it also floods from below. Jonkman says it's still unknown what kind of protection might work here. Miami, officially incorporated as a city in 1896, may already be past midlife. It could thrive for a few more decades as a disposable playground for rich people with a short-term property market. When the city winds down, the main victims will be the usual victims of water disasters, the poor who lack the resources to start again. In New York, too, says Rosenzweig, there is beginning to be a conversation about strategic relocation. Dutch water experts have visited the U.S. tend to marvel at American Hans Brinkerism, the notion that protection against water is an individual duty. In Miami, there are buildings that have their own private seawalls, no matter that these will divert floods onto the neighbors. So they bring up the Netherlands, and the Netherlands comes to America and says, you dumb fucks, you're all gonna die. You know, It's amazing. Here's the thing about Prager U. Every single part of this video, except where they admit climate change is real, is trash and easily debunked with about 30 seconds of research. And they get millions of dollars from fracking billionaires. Ask yourself why that is.
And certainly not powerless. It's time we all plug into that truth. I'm Rogan O'Hanley, aka DC Drano, for Prager University. Thank you for watching this video. To keep Prager U videos free, please consider making a tax-deductible donation.
We need to change the tax law. Prager U has to be taxed. All it is marketing for oil and gas companies. It is outsourced PR for these evil fracking corporations. They're just spending money on marketing. Fuck you. It should not be tax deductible for an oil and gas company to do marketing. Holy shit. I can't do that, chat. I can't do that. I can't do the why this Jew loves Christmas with the fucking creepy smile. Can we get some DSA creeps in the chat? I think Dennis Prager may be the creepiest fucking person I've ever seen. I'm using so many F-bombs, I realized today. DSA creep. Holy crap, he's the creepiest piece of garbage I've ever seen. Anyway, do you guys think I debunked it well enough? Are you happy with that debunking? Is there anything that I missed? Is there anything that I missed?